Welcome back, guys. Let us proceed with our C++. We want to continue with our control statements, and the next statement we want to explore is a for statement. Okay, there exists one that's exactly like that, so we call it N1 for statement. So we would want to be able to control our program based on different parameters. So we're going to create the following code, whereby we've got int I and we'll put a comma. We've got int j. We want to initialize j to 12. We also want to use our for statement, which will be as follows. For, we open and we close brackets. The first portion of the for statement gives us the starting value. So we've got I is equal to 0. That then becomes the starting value. The next portion gives us I is less than or equal to j. So this gives us the upper limit. The next one is I iterates. So in other words, we're then having all values between 0 and j being displayed. At the same time, we can then now say cout, open brackets. We can put the following value for I is, we put a space, we put in our angle brackets, we put our I, we then put our end line so that it ends there. Okay, let us proceed. Let's create the next project, and we want a while statement. Okay, with our while statement, we want it to be as follows. We do exactly the same things where we have a while x equals to 0. No, while x is not equal to 10, like that. We want to be able to do something int x. Okay, we want to be able to do something. Okay, so we need to initialize x to 0. We need to say x plus plus. We need to display value of x. So x equals x and line like that. That should work. Okay, so what we are saying now is we are saying in this particular statement we want to be able to have while, and then while gives us a condition to what we need to have. So we are saying while x is not equal to 10, we want to be able to display the value of x, but for us to get the value of x we need to iterate that value of x. So we say x plus plus, and then we display the value of x in our statement. But it's very similar to our for statement in that we have said x is equal to 0. We have put our conditions that it's not supposed to be equal to 10, or we will get up to 10, but it's not supposed to be equal to 10. Then we say x plus plus. X plus plus will then give us the increment of each value of x each time we run. So when we start, x is actually equal to 0, but we are saying 0 plus 1 which gives us 1, and then x is equal to 9, but 9 plus 1 gives us 10. So in other words, it then runs from 1 all the way up to 10, but we're actually supposed to be starting from 0 and ending at 9. So this is what then gives us 1 to 10 using the logic that is actually written there, or that is put there. So when we are working with our while statement, this is how we pretty much work with it. And it's very similar to how we were working with a while statement, an if statement, and a for statement in our C. So if you haven't done C, you actually get to realize that most of what we are doing will pretty much be exactly the same, in that we get to use the same concepts and the same content in each of the two languages. So that's how we work with our while statement. So let's get into another statement, which is the do while. So we're just adding a do to our while statement. Okay, but it pretty much will work in the same order or in the same manner as what we had before. Okay, so in the same manner as well, we can be able to state certain things that we want to see. So let's say we want to have our statement. Okay, here's how our do while pretty much works. Okay, we want to be able to say, while a certain thing might be true, we want to be able to do it until we get to the end. Okay, so let's have it this way. Let's say we've got our x like we did, and we say x is equal to 0. Okay, we want to be able to get the value of x. Okay, so while x is not equal to 10, or rather to 12 now, okay, we'll take a bit of what we did in the previous one. While x is not equal to 12, what do we want to do? We want to be able to get the value of x iterates, okay, but when we're iterating that now, we want to be able to get multiples of a certain value. Okay, so before we even get to work with our do, let's put our C out, where we then state what we want to get. Multiples of 2. Okay, we then put an end line, and then outside of that we then want to put the multiples of 2 in our code. So we'll then say C out value like that, multiple equals. So we want to be able to get all the multiples of 2 based on our x. So how we do that now is we say x multiplied by 2. Okay, so in other words, we're then saying we want to get each value of x, but we want to actually have it as a multiple of 2. So that's what we want to be able to display. So if we run it, we'll then get the following. Multiples of 2, we are then saying each value is multiplied by 2 until we get to the end of the value. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, and 24. So in other words, we're then saying each of the values that we are getting should give us a multiple of 2. So any number multiplied by 2 will then give us what we are hoping to actually start with, or where we're actually hoping to start. So this then becomes our do while loop, where we are simply saying we want to get the multiple of a specific number, and yet we've got our x, which is incrementing as we get to where we want to get to. Okay, so maybe as a summary, we can get to learn the following. We want to be able to control how our program works. We can use a while statement, a for statement, or an if statement. Okay, these then give us pretty much a different set of doing specific tasks in or within our project. So what this then means now is, as we are working with our project, or as we are working on our project, we may want to control our project in a specific manner or in a specific way that gives us what we are hoping to achieve and how we would want it achieved. So that is how we work with our control statements. In the next lesson, we'll get into another control statement that we will work with and hopefully get to do a few new things. I think we'll work on that control statement and try and have combined projects that shows us how we can actually work with these statements in a real life setup.